sometimes players are not on the field. It's fake. Sometimes they are on the field. You see them dropping like flies lately? Just drop it. Like flag all over soccer, football, wrestling, all over the place. They just drop it. You see the fake enemy lights blowing up? There's a reason for that. There's another thing that happens. Cloning in the players' playground. Some of them are not the players that you see. Some of them have on prosthetics. Some of them are, I'd say, creatures. They're hybrid. That does exist, where their DNA is taken, again, for cloning facilities, like hair shaved, teeth pulled out, DNA taken, things like that. So let's say they break their hand quickly. There's something that can be used with machines. So med beds. We all know about med beds, right? So there's a definition of med beds going on backwards right now. If somebody hurts themselves, they can get well like that in sports because it's a DNA thing. They take their DNA, they use that for cloning facilities, they bring them back, and they're back to playing. Even though they may be a shitty player, they need their face. So let's say some of them don't even have, some of them have one leg. Some of them you'll see them dribbling together. It'll look like somebody carried the basketball over to the hoop. Like, you know, those three-pointers that don't even look like three-pointers? And you're like, how the hell? And then all the men are like, yeah! Like, but in reality, it's green screen. Somebody takes that ball and moves it to the hoop and then checks the TV, and what's the ratings? Did we go up? Cool. Let's do that again. Your whole world is a stage. How I know that is because I've been up there with them. I had to sleep with one of the players. I didn't sleep with him. I was assaulted by one of the players that had a prosthetic cheek. And when he took it off, like I don't even know what was going on inside of his mouth. I could smell it. It was gross. Again, the research is endless. And I'm not, why? Who would want to sit here and make this up? How can you make this up? So your sports, wrestlers, basketball players, baseball players, any type of sports has numbers, right? You have to maintain your body, your BMI, you have to maintain your stats. Football, you have to maintain your numbers for speed. Those numbers are moved. Go check them out. Those numbers are moved quickly, depending on what they take for sponsors. Now, what goes on upstairs is sponsors in the boxes, or even on the players' playground. What they do is there's traffickers up there that are meeting with people who have promos. Those promos will get them cover magazines, MVP, deals, what's those called when you get to be on like a Coke commercial or you show up somewhere? Endorsements, thank you. The endorsements, they're up there in those boxes. Now what they do is they go up there and say, hey, I noticed you played really good today. We can move your numbers around, we can make you the star player. We can put you on a Center magazine. We can get you on this Coke commercial. And then they're like, I want to be the next LeBron. That's why he is LeBron. But, you know, legends never die. There's a reason for that. Kobe, too. LeBron. And some people asked me in December 2020 when I brought up LeBron, they were like, you're thinking of Kobe. No, all niggas don't look the same. They just, I'm telling you right now, and I say niggas because I'm telling you other niggas, but they don't look the same. And there's different dirt. And if you look, their numbers are different. Their base different. Their endorsements are different. If you go to the players that are sitting on the bench, they play way better than them. Men, have you seen that? Have you seen that? Like, the ones that are on the centerfolds and magazines, you can look at the ones that are just like shooting just to practice and you're like, why isn't he playing? Because he's not taking the deals yet. He's not upstairs in those boxes having sex with children to help people do semen snatching. There's females up there that are adults that run up there to stay in those boxes. Those box seats you can get for family. You can get them for friends. You can get special tickets to have people kind of sitting up really high and watching the game instead of sitting in those nosebleed stadium tickets where you gotta look down and feel like you're gonna pass out, you know, squeeze your legs and hurt your knees when you're trying to like wipe off people's makeup, get down. You know what I mean? Those seats are expensive seats as well, but when you're sitting up in those box seats, those are the seats that when you're up there, you're making deals. You're making deals for numbers, you're making deals. There's some females up there that go up there to get the player's semen. Again, we talked about this a little bit, but getting their semen helps them get pregnant, which gives them child support, which pays their way for 18 years. If you steal a player's semen and you get pregnant, you sign you don't have to sign a non-disclosure, you do not have to sign a prenup. If they're able to bring the DNA back, that's their kid. So some adult females stand up there and trap themselves, is basically what I'm saying. And they do that on purpose. And what happened to me is here we go, slow again. I had to be in a situation where running down my leg and still somebody came up to me and made sure that they grabbed that to try to get pregnant by the player. Staples Stadium. I called him alone. This is documented with Child Protective Services. Nobody wanted to talk about it because they're players. Those are your sports team. America is based on what?